TalkSport More Sport comparison. Will Anthony Joshua's resume surpass Tyson Fury's with a win over Oleksandr Usyk in his next fight? Michael Benson, July 21, 2021, 11:03 a.m. Anthony Joshua vs Tyson Fury will not be settled inside the ring this year, but the debate from fans outside the ring continues to rage on. For the last couple of years, a major point of contention in the AJ vs Fury conversation has been the comparison of their respective career resumes. AJ vs Fury collapsed, and so there will be no undisputed champion this year. AJ vs Fury collapsed, and so there will be no undisputed champion this year. Since beating Dillian Whyte for the British title back in 2015, Joshua has had 10 world title fights and built a deep record. AJ beat Charles Martin to win the IBF belt, and then made defenses against Dominic Breazeale and Eric Molina to round off 2016. After this, he jumped up in levels to take on Vladimir Klitschko the following year, stopping him in front of 90,000 at Wembley Stadium. Joshua's win over Whyte has aged well, but it must be admitted that the version of Whyte we see today is far better than the youngster from 2015. Joshua's win over Whyte has aged well, but it must be admitted that the version of Whyte we see today is far better than the youngster from 2015. AJ was floored by Klitschko, but recovered to win by knockout. AJ was floored by Klitschko, but recovered to win by knockout. A defense against Carlos Takam came next, and then AJ unified by taking Joseph Parker's unbeaten record. He became the first person to knock Alexander Povetkin out, rounding off an impressive 2018. Joshua's next step saw him travel to America and attempt to grow his profile by beating Andy Ruiz Jr. However, this backfired badly as he was floored 4 times and stopped inside 7 rounds. He completed a successful turnaround in 2019 though, and got revenge over Ruiz Jr. by outboxing him in Saudi Arabia. Povetkin is perhaps Joshua's most underrated win, the Russian KO'd Whyte. 2 years after being stopped by AJ, Gennady Povetkin is perhaps Joshua's most underrated win, the Russian KO'd Whyte. 2 years after being stopped by AJ, Joshua completely outboxed Ruiz Jr. to regain his titles. Though the Mexican-American was not in good shape, Joshua completely outboxed Ruiz Jr. to regain his titles. Though the Mexican-American was not in good shape, the pandemic affected AJ's plans for 2020. But he was able to round off the year by beating mandatory challenger Kubrat Pulev. Now, it's Usyk on the schedule for Joshua, a name that will add further depth if conquered on September 25. The only thing missing from his resume is a bout with one of the other big 3 heavyweights of this era. While Fury's record is not as deep as his British rival, he does trump him in this regard, having twice shared the ring with Deontay Wilder. Fury holds 2 wins over a younger Derek Chisora. Getty Images. Getty. Fury holds 2 wins over a younger Derek Chisora. The Gypsy King picked up 2 wins over Derek Chisora and 1 over Christian Hammer on the way to his first title shot. Then, in 2015, he outpointed a younger and more active version of Klitschko than the one Joshua stopped 2 years later. However, his life spiraled out of control and he did not return to the ring until 2018. Fury dethroned Klitschko despite being a huge underdog, ending his long reign as Fury dethroned Klitschko despite being a huge underdog, ending his long reign as champion. When Fury came back, it was initially against 2 lesser foes, but he then jumped up in levels to challenge Wilder. Many felt he was unfortunate not to be awarded the win in this fight, which was controversially scored a draw. In 2019, Fury opted to take 2 interim bouts before facing the American again. His first against Tom Schwartz was an easy win, but the second saw him tested by a solid contender in Otto Wallin. Wilder floored Fury twice in their draw, but many felt he was still outboxed for most of the bout. Getty. Wilder floored Fury twice in their draw, but many felt he was still outboxed for most of the bout. Wallin was a tougher test for Fury than many expected, and the Swede has since beaten Dominic Breazeale. Wallin was a tougher test for Fury than many expected, and the Swede has since beaten Dominic Breazeale. Fury came through this with a points win and a nasty cut, then headed into his 2020 rematch with Wilder. This time around, Fury left no doubt as he floored the Bronze Bomber twice and stopped him in round 7. Neither man has fought since, though they are scheduled to meet in a trilogy on October 9, live on TalkSport. Fury dominated Wilder in their rematch. Getty Images. Getty. Fury dominated Wilder in their rematch. TalkSport.com's top 10 combined ranking of Anthony Joshua's and Tyson Fury's best wins. 1. Fury vs Klitschko, 2015, 2. AJ vs Klitschko, 2017, 3. Fury vs Wilder, 2020, 4. AJ vs Povetkin, 2018, 5. AJ vs Ruiz Jr., 2019, 6. AJ vs White, 2015, 7. AJ vs Parker, 2018, 8. AJ vs Pulev, 2020, 9. Fury vs Wallin, 2019, 10. Fury vs Chisora, 2014. It's irrefutable that Fury holds stronger wins at the top end of his resume than Joshua. AJ was not the one to dethrone Klitschko, nor Wilder. Plus Fury achieved these victories on foreign soil. However, if you assess the depth of the full records, it's obvious that Joshua trumps the Gypsy King. Should he add former undisputed cruiserweight King Usyk to his slate on September 25, it may end the debate, at least for the time being, over who has the strongest.
Truly, truly, truly absurd. Never heard of anything like that. But what do y'all think of that? Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, having a better resume than Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is the only heavyweight who has beat more top 10 heavyweights in the heavyweight division. There's nobody else. Who's fought more top 10 heavyweight boxers than Anthony Joshua? Nobody. Out of all the top 10 heavyweight boxers, how many has Anthony Joshua beat? 7? 8? 8 of them? You know, and at least if they're not on the list right now, they was when he fought them. I mean, listen how dense his resume is as far as heavyweights. The difference is Anthony Joshua don't take fights like Safar Safiri, Pizzanetta, or Otto Weiland. Okay? He don't take fights like that. And who do you got? A prime Derek Chisora and a prime Vladimir Klitschko and a Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder don't count for nothing. All right? So if you want to talk about Derek Chisora and Klitschko, then fine. But I'm not giving you no special praises for beating Deontay Wilder when y'all trash Deontay Wilder so much. I keep saying you can't have it both ways. You can't say Deontay Wilder ain't shit, has always been a bullshit-ass boxer, then elevates somebody to the greatest boxer of all times because they beat somebody that you said didn't have a skill worth of shit. That don't make no sense. That, you know, that's illegal. You can't do that. You know, but there's no question in the world that Anthony Joshua has the better resume. You mean tell me he need to get Usyk on his resume to be considered better than Tyson Fury's? I don't believe there is no back and forth. Nobody with common sense will have a back and forth. You could tell by his body of work and by the way he moves who has the better resume. Period. Prime Vladimir Klitschko or not, Anthony Joshua got the better resume hands down right now. Because if he doesn't, how many top 10 heavyweight contenders have Tyson Fury fought? How many? Honestly. And it don't match Anthony Joshua's. Yes, defeating somebody in their backyard is good. Yes, beating Klitschko is good. But at the same time, we all know Tyson Fury versus Klitschko is voted one of the most boring fights of all times in all boxing history. Matter of fact, I think they use that video in like U.S. Army torture camps. You know what I'm saying? They're going to tie your ass to the chair and see if you can sit through all 12 rounds of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Before you bust and spill the beans. I'm dead serious. So, yeah, you beat Klitschko, but look how you beat Klitschko. Boring. Boring as shit. God, that fight was boring. Anthony Joshua dropped Klitschko. Knockout. Okay? So which one is actually better? Just saying, though, not to take nothing away from Tyson Fury, but comparing these two guys' resume, comparing Anthony Joshua to anybody currently in boxing is absurd. You want to know why? Anthony Joshua has to be the only fighter that's absolutely, positively not in question. This is one guy you know that don't take shortcuts, is not looking for soft fights, who's not looking for excuses, and you know his intentions is to be undisputed. He's the only boxer I can honestly say in all of boxing who intentions is clear. Who you know is not cherry picking. He's one of the only ones that I can say crystal clear. I mean, of course, there's a few others, but, you know, we just talking about on a big casual scale. Anthony Joshua is not in question about nothing. Tyson Fury is in question about everything. You know, and that's true. But anyways, that's my opinion Tell me what you think of this shit. Bruce Wayne, I'm out.